Ladies and gentlemen, it is time again for Woo's favorite podcast about this week in wrestling. It's Woo Gets Serious 15 with your host Omega BR, Gunner, our producer Yagam DDS, and our special guest Ned Jester and Red Reddington.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Woo Gets Serious. I'm Gunner, that's Omega, that's Yankum, and that's Ned Jester. Oh wait, you guys can't see me pointing. What the hell am I saying? Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody!
I don't know about you, I was waiting for the studio audience.
We represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop... Oh, never mind.
We do have an audience this week. They are not allowed to talk, or we will be sicking Net Jester on them, or possibly Red Machine D to eat them.
I heard he was getting hungry. Anyway, hi RMD, by the way. How you doing, buddy? Alright, so let's get started with the news of the week. Alright, so in our first little segment here, in classic WWE fashion, the WWE website just posted a video where John Laurinaitis says John Morrison will be, quote, not signed to a new contract due to his poor win-loss record. Laurinaitis also tells Morrison that he hopes he gets his mind and body right. As we've been reporting, Morrison's contract was expiring and he did not choose to sign a new contract, and he finished up at last night's Raw.
This is just WWE's way of saying, enjoy being in TNA, faggot.
I have a point to make on this, which is they said that they've got rid of him because of his bad win-loss record. I'm just having a look at some stats now, and the people that have the most losses in WWE at the moment are Tyson Kidd with 40 losses this year, Jack Swagger with 39, Dolph Ziggler with 37, and Wade Barrett with 35. So we might be seeing those people leave sometime soon.
Well, a couple of those I would say one would hope, but I wouldn't put money on it. As for Joe, you know, Woo is split in two about this guy sometimes, between loving him and hating him. Just depend on what day of the week it is. I'm personally thought he was a good worker and did some nice flippy shit, and I'm going to be sorry to see him leave.
I'll be sad to see Jomo leave. I love Jomo. He's got the glasses and the rainbow pyro. I mean, bless him. He's been with the company for what? He's been with the company as long as Cena has been with them. I remember Jomo debuting on Carlito's Cabana. That's how long ago that was. And I mean, the guy's never really done. The guy didn't really push himself as much as he needed to. I mean, he should have taken more opportunities to get himself over like Zack Ryder did. And I know some people will say, oh, well, you know, the company should have given him more shots, but he should have pushed himself, I think, a little more.
Or he could have just not let his girlfriend tell him what to do.
Ex-girlfriend.
And other news on I'm sorry, go ahead, Omega.
Well, you know, I was going to put this short and sweet anyway. You know, those issues with Molina or whatever notwithstanding, the fact of the matter is he went out looking really, really pretty good, a lot better than most guys look. So I hope he knows what he's looking for.
So on January the 2nd, Raw, which will take place in Memphis, they are advertising a Memphis street fight between Jerry Lawler and Michael Cole.
This will do less buys than kayfabe versus John Cena.
I really hope this is the dark match. That's all I have to say.
Go ahead.
I would drive the 5 hours to Memphis if I had the money to see this, just because Michael Cole getting the shit beat out of him. I hope that King fucking legitimately just stiff the shit out of him over and over.
Yeah, as much as... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ned Jester. I've got my own show.
Okay. Anyway, people seem to dislike Jerry the King Lawler on there, but the person on Woo, but the person they hate even more than him is Michael Cole. in a battle between two heels, exactly who gets the pops there. Personally, I don't have much antipathy towards Lawler, but I do want to see, as I'm sure most of who does, Michael Troll turn into, get the hell beat out of him and him running back to his cave.
I mean, like, the thing is, whenever it comes to stuff between Michael Cole, they never, ever... They think it's money because Cole's got so much heat on him. He's got more heat than anyone else, but it's not heat, it's hate. And the other thing as well is, like, you're doing a street fight in this kind of PG environment, and it's going to be the same old stuff always. It's going to be weak-ass chair shots. It's going to be kendo stick spots in the middle of a street fight that we don't really need. And then it's going to be some bullshit where Cole wins somehow. Probably from Brodus Clay debuting through the middle of the ring to save Michael Cole.
Or Brodus Clay does his first run-in, and that's how we see him in his first appearance on Raw.
Well, I mean, like...
I don't know, I think we're reading too much into this, to be honest. I mean, this reeks of, like, goofy, gimmicked, post-show dark match,
I'm sure. But still, I really want King to stiff the shit out of him. In other news, the online issues with WWE 12 continue, as THQ employees have been working on the problem since the game launched last week. A THQ rep wrote the following today: "Guys, we are literally doing everything we can at the moment. We're seeing some improvements for a few, but we won't stop until it's perfect." I don't have WWE 12 yet, so I don't know what those issues are.
Nor do I! I do not have my copy of the game. I'm very angry.
I don't either. It's just the funny part, because I thought I was the only one.
That seems to be the issue then. The issue seems to be that no one actually has the game. So yeah, just send out free copies of the game, THQ, and that will sincerely solve the problem. And as far as I've heard, the issues are that they did a bunch of midnight releases for the game, and the servers weren't up the next day until 10 a.m. American time, which pissed a bunch of people off because they were trying to do midnight server stuff and it didn't really work. And then Creative Commons, the creative sharing stuff, wasn't available. And then apparently a load of stuff that was like free in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. You now have to pay £7 or £8 for. This was me reading a 1-star Amazon review earlier today, which was commented on as being a well-worded review, which was written in so much text speak I had to ask my brother to translate it. But yes, on Amazon, well-worded.
Oh boy. Alright, well, moving right along here to my favorite news segment this week, or at least the one that I remember off the top of my head. It was reported earlier, well, it wasn't really reported earlier, but we pulled it earlier from WWEshop.com. They released a new Sin Cara t-shirt. Did anybody see this?
I take that as a yes. I think we pretty much all seen it. If we didn't see it here, then we saw it on the AfterBuzz TV show after Raw last night. Oh boy.
Well, it's Sin Cara, and he's in gold, and he looks great. It's just that he's kind of bulging, if you understand what I'm saying. And the title of the shirt, Golden Drip.
Yeah, that was pretty bad in and of itself. To be a little bit more specific without being grody, down near his waistline, not as far as you'd think it would be, but the gold coloring sort of becomes, in a certain spot,
emphasized.
Yes,
it looks like a penis.
And,
it was a penis!
Can we cut it?
Color.
It was a penis! Alright, according to the people who ordered the t-shirt during the few hours it was available, they were notified that their order would not be processed and with the option of receiving a full credit refund or equal credit in the shop. So basically that shirt will never hit shelves unless you find it in the WWE, warehouse. There you go. So if you look at the WWE warehouse, I want this shirt, I will pay you $100 for it.
I have to say that the logistics of Sin Cara's reign within the WWE have gotten worse and worse as they go. Arrive, botch, get suspended, be replaced, have a feud with yourself, botch, get injured, have a t-shirt of yourself with a penis on it released. That is your second piece of merchandise, is a mask followed by a shirt with a penis on it. I'm serious. If there's a conspiracy in WWE, it revolves around Sin Cara.
Yes,
I just can't to break.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you right now, I saw that shirt. It was on the site for over a week. You couldn't order it, but it was on like the pre-order as the night of Survivor Series. And I tell you, until I was bombarded by all of these, notions that there was something off about the shirt, and try as I might, I looked at it, couldn't tell anything, and then finally, when I finally got it, I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest. The shape wasn't really that suggestive. It was more like a worn down eraser than a, you know what I mean? I tell you what the conspiracy is. The conspiracy of this internet culture where, we have to find, just disgusting, nasty things and everything.
Dude, it's the same thing as Disney with the penises and the Little Mermaid ad.
Well, the thing to do to test if this is actually a penis on the shirt is to take that picture, upload it to YouTube for like a 10-minute video, and see if it gets taken down for nudity. If it gets taken down for nudity, then therefore it's a banned shirt. Or just upload it to the WWE Live Tour site.
I love that one. Alright, so more Sin Cara news. Well, more Lucha news. More of the same regarding Averno finally coming to the WWE. Averno lost his one singles title with CMLL promotion in Mexico, which he immediately started the talk of him leaving for the WWE roster. Averno's WWE debut faces another roadblock as Sin Cara is out until 2012. He could be brought in to feud with Hunico, Epico, and Primo since Cara is out, which I think would actually be a smarter idea, considering the fact that he's, that he would need time to adjust to the American audience or whatnot, and by the time that he would come back and, Botch Fest doesn't get fucking released, I could see Averno and, and Sin Cara finally tangling with Hunico and Epico over the tag team titles. So I would be surprised if Averno came in.
They could just as easily just forget about it. But the fact of the matter is, the entire reason Sin Cara was brought in the first place was because of that, and kept, despite all the issues, and still retained and all, is because of that big Hispanic market. And, if people know who Mystico is, they know who Averno is. If people know who Batman is, they probably know who the Joker is. You know what I mean? So even without his mask and everything, he still has the potential to really, kind of bring in some of that market. And who knows what he'll be. I mean, he doesn't have his mask, but I mean, that's just more talent for them to mold, I suppose. It was revealed that, excuse me, CM Punk's title win over Del Rio in Madison Square Garden last week happened to be the first WWE title change in the venue since November 2002, so 9 years, as a matter of fact. And that was when the Big Show won it from Brock Lesnar also at Survivor Series, the one with the tiny screen and the green logo, and Heyman doing the swerve and everything. And Dolph Ziggler, in another little bit of trivia, becomes the second person in history to accomplish the feat of doing double duty on 2 pay-per-views in a row. Of course, he was in the, even though he got out early, he was in the tag match and he was in the U.S. title match. And the first person happened to be Bret Hart, who actually wrestled 3 matches at the King of the Ring pay-per-view in 1993. And then he worked 2 matches at the following pay-per-view, that being SummerSlam of 93, and he actually won 4 out of those 5 matches.
I would say 2 things here. One, Survivor Series 2002, in my mind, is probably one of the best WWE pay-per-views out there. The women's match on that pay-per-view was good. The three-way tag match on that pay-per-view was amazing. The first Elimination Chamber features Triple H getting his throat busted. So if you're one of these people that dislikes Triple H, which seems to be everyone on the IWC, then this is a pay-per-view for you. And Dolph Ziggler, he is possibly the future of the company. My money was on Sheamus to win the Rumble. I'm looking more towards Ziggler. I think Ziggler has a good chance of winning the Rumble this year.
Just as long as it's not Randy Orton.
Well, that's just it. I have this kind of pit in the stomach feeling that, every year you have choices like Ziggler who are kind of like, or even a guy like Ryder who are kind of like, he could move up. But the Rumble typically, that's kind of what they have Money in the Bank for, you know what I mean? Like, the Rumble typically isn't used to elevate somebody so strikingly. So, given some of the vortex in the main event scene, where certain guys are kind of going away and not too many other guys are attracted to it, then so far there's only a couple choices that really seem to make sense. And my pick at the moment, as things stand today, this second, would probably be somebody like Miz.
I could see that.
I'm okay with it as long as they just don't do the whole Destiny crap that they did with Alberto Del Rio that led to nothing, which wasn't Del Rio's fault and probably wasn't the writer's fault. It was just certain things happening at certain times and not having the guts to go with it. But yeah. Yes, Destiny does lead to more Destiny and also cars. Apparently WWE officials have been discussing turning World Heavyweight Champion Mark Henry babyface again. Sources expect the turn to happen sooner than later. As noted before, Vince McMahon also has plans to turn R-Truth babyface when he returns, in part because he sees great potential in Little Jimmy merchandise. Truth's turn is also being done because Vince feels Raw only has two over babyfaces, John Cena and CM Punk, and if one of them gets hurt, then the death would be worse than it is now.
They're getting over. Turn them face and make them suck again.
Merchandise, jeez.
The one thing I say about this, does the company need more faces right now? Does it need more generic people who they just don't use on the program? No. What you need good characters. Truth's conspiracy character, believing that everyone was against him, is a fantastic character. Truth coming out to the ring and dancing every week is not going to win him anything. He will go back to being a mid-card jobber within moments of his re-debut.
Oh, no doubt. I absolutely love Kofi Kingston when he came into the WWE, and he's been turned, even though he's got the tag title now, into more or less a mid-card jobber with very little personality. It's just pathetic. And now Vince wants to do that the same thing to both Mark Henry and R-Truth. Oh, LOL, WWE.
Well, they're getting over, and now they're as heels. They're getting over as good heels, and now they're going to completely ruin that by turning them into faces that nobody's going to like. And this isn't just, cheer for the heels, boo the faces, but, Henry sucks as a face. I love Mark Henry, but as a face, he pretty much sucks. As this monster heel with the Hall of Pain, he's absolutely awesome, but I do not want to see him as a face again. I don't.
The only reason I want to see him as a face is sexual chocolate. Oh yeah. All right.
God, please. You're making me give flashbacks to him in bed with what's her name, Mae Young.
Yes. Which you guys should go check out WWE.com because they have a segment with Mae Young and Zack Ryder. Mae Young fist pumps. Go check it out. Moving right along. Punk has an interview on ESPN.com, which he talks about The Rock, wrestling Steve Austin, and more. He's implying that Rocky's being Hollywood and very bourgeoisie. As far as Austin versus Punk at WrestleMania, he said he'd rather see Austin Punk 2. I'd love to poll everybody who's going to order WrestleMania and would they rather see Cena Rock or Stone Cold Punk, and it would be a landslide victory for Stone Cold Punk. That's basically what he's implying. Let's see. He talked about other people that he faced. You know, he had to beg to get on last year's WrestleMania card because it was Punk vs. Mysterio, and nobody was coming to ask him to get on the card. But it was a great interview on ESPN.com. Go check it out.
Correction, last year was Punk versus Orton.
That's been
Mysterio was the year previous to that, if I'm recalling correctly.
I believe you're right, yes.
Well, this almost speaks not really to Punk, but more to their own procedure in forming their biggest event of the year. And I've criticized them for this, the past couple of years. The fact that WrestleMania is more or less a given, a buy rate given. They advertise, they focus on the main event. They don't even have the full card ready a week before the event. They'll add some random. They'll add like Core versus 4 guys from SmackDown, and then that's supposed to be really, especially this year, which of course this is something strong that Punk criticizes. Of course, the whole Rock Cena thing, and that's supposed to sell the entire show, and it does to a degree, but at the same time, we're talking about pay-per-view. We're talking about this cockamamie scheme that may be insane or brilliant, I don't know, to supposedly put WrestleMania on the launching WWE Network for free. So I don't know. I'm just saying, if from a quality standpoint, if it's supposed to be the best show of the year, then it ought to be the best show of the year. You don't need people pitching ideas for the best show of the year in February.
And they've got a 2-month build this year for WrestleMania. In fact, they've had a year-long build in terms of John Cena versus Rock, which has amounted to almost nothing. And I'm sure we'll get into that on the Raw side of it. But yeah, the WrestleMania 27 was. I mean, I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was okay. But yeah, it does seem to be a case, and I think this is Vince's problem. And people blame the kids. They say that the kids don't have that power they don't have the brain power to keep up with a storyline. I'd argue against that, and there's studies that prove that kids do have that stuff. But old people like Vince, who's probably got Alzheimer's, he can't keep up with a story for more than a week. Probably why Raw has to be rewritten every single week is because Vince has got no idea what's going on, and so he just writes something completely new. That's what he does. He gets the script and we go, well, what is this? Continuity. So we'll get rid of it. Something completely different. That's how it works.
Well, we could get into a whole thing about what they do wrong in terms of writing the show and who deserves the blame, but yeah, it really just comes down to they need to, particularly since it's almost written for them, what with the Rumble and then Elimination Chamber now pretty much being the last stop, and everybody wants that last shot to get on the WrestleMania card and everything, and then they arbitrarily make a match 2 weeks before, and then they really just need to, if they're going to pay attention to anything, it should be WrestleMania, and the quality of WrestleMania has really just dipped completely, to the point where people call it, when you say like worst 5 of the year, people are including WrestleMania, and that should never happen.
Good point, Gunnar. The following, I'm sorry. The official website of the St. Louis Scott Trade Center, host of the 2012 WWE Royal Rumble, is advertising a 30-man Royal Rumble match at the event. They also advertise WWE and World title matches. As we may remember, the 2011 WWE Royal Rumble featured 40 talents and was dubbed the biggest Royal Rumble in history.
I mean, okay, last year's Royal Rumble. The whole idea of them putting it as 40 guys was because they wanted to get over Alberto Del Rio's win as being a big deal. They wanted to be able to push the fact that it was the biggest Royal Rumble, so therefore he was the biggest winner. That was the idea. And of course, that works well if Alberto Del Rio is number 1, number 2, or number 3 in the Royal Rumble, and he survives 39 other men. He was, 30, 32? He was, 37, there we go. 37, he was one of the last guys in the Royal Rumble, so the worst place you could put him for him to win it. His little thing with Santino was a great thing at the end, but honestly, last year's Rumble was was a kind of like an example of WWE booking things in the middle of a huge match. They did the whole Hornswoggle and John Cena thing. They did the whole Nexus thing, which was quite cool. But if you're going to do those things, you've got to make them matter. It's like, okay, it's great if you throw Jomo off the side of the off the side of the ring and have him, clutch onto the side of the ring. That's great if you can do that spot. But don't do that spot just so you can eliminate him about 5 minutes later. There's no point doing that. Don't have the idea of a core versus Nexus feud if you have all the core members come in and then eliminate them. I think Justin Gabriel was number 3 and he was almost eliminated immediately. Why? Why do these stupid things? So, 30 members, inevitable RVD return, considering he's almost his contract with TNA is up December, I believe, and he's not booked for anything post December. So, possible RVD coming in, doing a 5-star frog splash, getting killed by everyone.
So, is that a fair trade, do you think, John Morrison for RVD?
Depends.
One can do parkour, one can't. Do you know what? I'll get into this from the TNA thing about John Morrison's debut, because I have an idea what they're going to do with him.
Oh, I know what they're going to do with him. It's been rumored that he's going to be brought Cena as a couple and feud with Austin Aries.
Oh, hello. Are you serious? They want to put him with Melina again?
Oh, yeah, they want to bring them in as a couple. So, all right.
I want a. I'm sorry, just real quick. I want a RVD versus heel CM Punk feud. How awesome would that be?
Yes, I would pay to see that.
That'd be pretty cool. By the way, tickets for the 2012 Royal Rumble go on sale December 10th at 10 a.m. 390, 75, 45, and 20, and it takes place on January 29th at the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis, Missouri. All right,
that's only 4 hours from here.
And moving right along, we have the following press release was sent out earlier today by Cleveland-based indie rock band Double Murder Suicide. They've recently released their 4th wrestling-inspired concept album, Fourth Horseman, and is now available for free download via our website and their website. Previous releases have been based on Chris Benoit, 2008 self-titled release, The Hart Family, 2009's Sheer Heart Attack, and WCW 2010's Lex Luger Sex Magic. While the new album is devoted entirely to the life and times of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, wrestling fans can download the album for free. We have it available on Wookie.org and in this broadcast post. I will be listening to it.
I didn't even know any of this, and now I'm excited. Especially Lex Luger Sex Magic. There's just something about that title, man. I can't put my finger on it, or thankfully any other part of my body.
Well, they have the stones to name their band over you know who, so it sounds like it'll be an interesting listen at the least.
Well, Voldemort.
I was just going to ask, who's Chris Benoit?
Oh, Jesus. All right. Let's
the WWE race works again.
It's unlikely that WWE will ever mention exactly what happened to the anonymous Raw GM, as they believe they don't have to. He was pushed and then depushed like any other character.
It's a dumb thing, but, that's true. They really don't have to. And it is something they can always... I mean, they're not smart enough to do this, but it's something they can always go back and, Oh yeah, he was driving the Hummer. Oh yeah, he kidnapped Joe. Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, he's the one who ran over Stone Cold.
There is a rule when you write stuff as a writer, which I like to use all the time, and that is whenever you write a mystery, especially something like who is the anonymous general manager, you start off with who that's, okay? You work from Z and you go back to A. I'm sorry for Americans, that's Z. We say Z in this country. Yeah, you go from Z and you work back to A, okay? And in this case, what they did was they worked from A, we're going to have this anonymous Raw general manager, and then they gave access to the entire writing team to be able to do whatever they wanted with this podium, which works brilliantly if you knew who the guy was going to be at the end of it. But of course no one did, so 1 week he was face, 1 week he was heel, 1 week he likes Michael Cole, 1 week he hated Michael Cole. And instead it just became this jokey thing to do. I would liken this to the moment in WCW when there was a first blood match between Vampiro and Sting, and the match ended when Sting was in the middle of the ring and got covered in blood that dropped from the ceiling. Okay? They did that on one occasion. That's really cool to have a first blood match end that way. But then they did the same blood spot about 3 times over the course of the next year. Well, not even the next year, next 6 months, including Nash getting covered in the blood, Russo and Flair getting covered in blood. And it's just like, as soon as you start doing stuff over and over again for stupid reasons, people don't care. People don't give a shit, and at the end of it, like, people didn't want to know who the anonymous Raw general manager was. They just wanted to know when the fuck he was going to shut up.
Yeah, the first time you cover somebody in blood, it's groundbreaking. The next few dozen times you cover somebody in blood, oh, the blood again. Come on, think of something original.
Yeah, I should say that to my girlfriend sometimes. Zing!
The stop covering me in blood part, or come up with something original.
Oh, would I be terrible to say both? Moving right along, WWE assigned former Lingerie Football League cornerback Danielle Montier. She's now in WWE Developmental. Whoop-dee.
Only in America could you invent lingerie football. I have to say.
The Lingerie Football League is not in America. It's in Canada.
Oh, well, God bless Canada.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Red.
That's all I wanted to say was God bless Canada.
see how they are. See how these bloody Englishmen are. It's laughable when it's American, but when it's Canadian, it's fucking genius.
Oh, Canada!
No.
It's just because they keep your queen on their money. But we don't take them seriously because they call their money loonies.
Hey guys, I got bad news.
What's that?
Del Rio got fired.
No, really?
Well, Jack Del Rio of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, you whack-a-mole.
I hate you, Cutter.
Where we go?
In other news, when...
nobody here watches Pig Tom.
If you had an audience, it would be outraged.
The Rock was asked about criticism over his return at the Survivor Series pay-per-view, and he responded, "Always remember that the ones who were vocal and disapproving about me coming back, and we all know who the two are the ones who are most insecure and jealous. Maybe one day they'll smarten up and understand the greater perspective." Well, obviously he's talking about, well, Punk is one of them. I don't remember who the other one is.
I believe it's Cena. Well, probably maybe Cena.
Yeah, I guess that would be Cena.
It could also possibly be Melina / John Morrison after the whole WrestleMania tweet thing that went out, where she said that Rock was on the top bill of WrestleMania.
Oh
and
my
he
God!
wasn't on
Really,
the road.
Red? I'm sorry. Time. Just for a second. Did you just say rectal mania?
I probably just said rectal. I probably did. It might just be my accent.
Okay.
This news bit may be from before the split last week Just full disclosure there. So this may be in kayfabe referring to Miz and Truth.
Oh yeah, that might be
a possibility.
Yes.
So before Truth got caught with the spice, so that's likely what it is. It's likely in kayfabe. In other news, John Cena's been praising Zack Ryder in recent interviews. When asked for his reason for doing so, Cena replied, "I saw a kid in an era when everyone was afraid to show their talent, and the kid was like, you know what, I'm going down anyway, so I'm going down swinging." He said he's been in that spot before, and when he sees somebody like Ryder, and he's one of those people that's willing to take a chance, then he admires that. He said it's not something he's found enough of in the locker room, and whether he's battle-tested and ready for the next level, he's not into that sort of speculation. He just likes seeing a kid with a set of nuts who's willing to just throw it all out on the line and risk it all rather than say, hey man, I just don't want to rock the boat and I don't want to do anything that's going to draw attention to myself.
Well, I mean, the last bit's referring to John Morrison, who did very little for his character development as far as I have heard. But yeah, I mean, like, I think Cena likes Zack Ryder not just because, oh, Zack Ryder's over with the fans, therefore I'm going to like Cena to try and get myself over. I think it's mainly the fact that Cena, you know, he had the stupid rap gimmick and he came up with that himself, and he came up with a lot of material for himself. So I think he sees that as Ryder taking something and running with it.
I think that's
I think somebody in creative came up with the rap character for Cena. I think they heard him. The story is that they heard him doing it backstage, and they said, "You should make that your character," and then they did that.
Well, I mean, all the raps and stuff were him.
Yeah, he wrote all that.
So I mean, and then he did the 5-question show with John Cena. So I mean, there's a lot of parallels you can see between those two. I mean, I'm just waiting for Brodus Clay to get his own web show. I'm looking forward to that.
Turning back to something we were kind of talking about earlier, less than 4 hours before Raw went live, the script called for John Morrison to job out to Brodus Clay. Once again, there were several rewrites before the late afternoon, or during the late afternoon and evening hours. This seems to be a weekly thing as of late, as the weekend draft they have coming into Raw is rarely used after rewrites on Monday. Brodus will maybe debut on Raw next week. Who fucking knows? Are they ever going to debut Brodus Clay, or is this just going to be every week? It's like, hey, we got Brodus Clay coming, and they're like, well, no, maybe next week.
They'll debut Brodus, but he won't be as good as we think. And the first thing I think he should do is take out Ricardo, because I mean that was the last time we saw him on WWE TV is on SmackDown, asking Del Rio and Ricardo why the hell are they leaving him here.
Well, that was my thought. I thought they were going to do a whole bait and switch with us. I thought they were going to say Brodus is debuting the Raw after Survivor Series, and instead during the Punk Del Rio match we were going to see Brodus interfere. That's what I thought was going to happen. I even thought Brodus was going to interfere in the Del Rio Punk match this week. The other thing as well that's worth noting is that not only was Brodus was backstage, so he was actually there. I just really hope that by the time he debuts, no one will care, because they've got Undertaker coming back soon. They've got possibly the whole It Begins the It Begins 2012 stuff, which I hope is a reference to Kurt Angle's trials in the Olympics. And they've got Zeke coming back. I mean, there's just not enough room for Brodus on the card, especially when you've got Natalya and Beth doing jogging round the ring. I mean, those are very important segments.
It depends on how tight their outfit is, yes, but don't forget Kane returning too.
Ah, yeah.
Kane returning is a separate entity to the January 2nd, 2012 thing. Because there are videos that exist of Kane with his mask. Oh my God, Kane with his mask.
I would like to imagine that the 2012 videos are actually nothing to do with the WWE and just someone in the graphics department who is just pissing around with the Twitter message thing in the bottom corner, and no one knows, and it's just someone who's filmed a bunch of creepy videos. It will probably turn out to be Tri-Moon at the end of all of this, and that is actually Tri-Moon. I think we should just establish that Tri-Moon is the kid writing at the desk, and Tri-Moon will be debuting very soon.
Okay.
I'd mark out for that.
Everybody say hello to my cat who has seemingly crawled up onto my chest and wants to listen to this podcast.
Hello, Gunner's cat.
Everyone wants to listen to this podcast.
And speaking of everyone, Big Show chatted with fans on thestate.com yesterday to promote last night's Raw Super Show. When asked about retiring, Big Show said, I may be 40 in February, but I don't feel 40. I'll be doing this as long as I feel I can compete, and I feel great now. Awesome.
Depending upon your feelings towards him... Oops, hang on. Depending upon your feelings towards him, we're either going to have another Ric Flair on our hands, which can be either a good or a bad thing.
I don't think so. I don't think you can draw that comparison at all. Big Show is I don't see him as somebody that's gonna hang on beyond being wanted. He's still over. I don't think you can still say the same thing for Flair. I don't think he's really over beyond maybe like a cheap pop to bring him in and go, hey, here's Ric Flair. I don't think anybody really wants to see Flair wrestle, but people still want to see Big Show in big matches.
Alright, moving on to TNA. Jackie Moore has stated on Monday on her Twitter that her contract with TNA Wrestling has expired, and she expects to be removed from the roster page shortly. She was recently brought in, and the last time they used her, she wasn't used on the 10 Knockouts Gauntlet match on November 14th. So apparently they just don't like her. And another note: Chris Masters is starting his Twitter campaign to get on TNA. So there you go. If you like Chris Masters, go support him. If you listen to his podcast, actually, I kind of like it better than I used to. So go for it.
Well, here's the thing. If you like Chris Masters, wouldn't you not sign that Twitter petition to get him onto TNA?
You'd sign the Twitter petition to get him on Shoot Promo, motherfucker.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we've got so many petitions going on. We've got a writer with his petition to get U.S. title match against Ziggy, and now we've got this Chris Masters thing. I'm sort of two minds about this. In the internet age, this sounds good after a fact, and that would be all right, but still, to harp on something Jerry the King Lawler said on Raw, or I think it was even Michael Cole, which I apologize beforehand, quoting him, but, sure, you're given time in the ring, try to do something in your time in the ring that makes you memorable. You know, you're big, you're tall, you're powerful, you've got a body ripped all to hell, but, you know, what have you done besides just flex your pecs to the rhythm of music to make you be remembered?
You forgot a petition, one that I think everybody should sign, and that is Jeremy Irons' petition to get in the Royal Rumble. Gregory Irons, I'm sorry. Wow.
You also forgot another petition as well, which is a petition to get the Sin Cara penis t-shirt back on WWE.com shop or something like that. I just want someone to actually just take the picture and just rejig it so it's actually, because it's a little skewed at the moment, and then caption it at the top with "It ain't gonna suck itself." I would buy that T-shirt and wear it.
All right. That sounds like a task that I might have to partake in. Moving on to indie news and basically other news that didn't fit into TNA or WWE. Skull Crusher Rescue Brown is no longer part of the Urban Wrestling Federation and has been stripped of the UWF title. He basically says that the UWF tried to make him act and sound like he was from Grand Theft Auto, when really at the end of the day it's still wrestling, and they tried to change too much and he didn't agree with it. Therefore, and so Rescue Brown is out of UWF. And in our New Jack segment of the week, New Jack stated on Monday on Facebook that former WWE talent Tammy Sitch, aka Sunny, asked him to kill her former boyfriend, a New Jersey police officer who she broke up with in August. According to Jack, a former bounty hunter, the WWE Hall of Famer says that WWE Hall of Famer. Says that he physically abused her during her five-year relationship. I forgot Sunny was in the Hall of Fame. She made similar claims on Facebook last month. Jack writes, "Have these bitches lost their fucking minds or what? Tammy Sitch from WWE called me this past weekend and asked me if I would kill her ex-boyfriend, who is a cop in Jersey, because he abused her and beat the shit out of her for the past 5 years. I'm sure y'all finding this hard to believe, just like the other, but please believe it. I'll have a signing and a show in Jersey this weekend, and I will be staying at a hotel in Jersey for 2 days. But believe this when I say I'm not coming to Jersey to try and kill a guy, cop, for Tammy or nobody else, WTF. Tammy, here's a little word of advice. Do your own goddamn dirty work, you crazy bitch. Please forward this to her. By the way, the cop's name is John. Crazy fucking bitch." Stitch denies these claims Tuesday on Facebook, and Jay's wacko never asked him to kill my ex, she wrote. It should be noted that Stitch became very depressed several months ago over relationship issues. She began using drugs and alcohol and showed several convictions because of it.
Not New Jack.
And that was your New Jack segment of the week.
Just wow.
You know, I'll say this, if there might be some truth, and there probably is, to when, like, guys like, I don't know, I forget, Jeff Jarrett or Hogan or Bischoff or whoever, and they talk about the new talent, we used to, or Bully Ray, that's who it is. A guy like Bully Ray who talks about, back in the day, you finish the show, you go to the bar, you get drunk, you sleep with some skank and such. Nowadays, the younger, these younger guys, AJ, they finish the show, they go play video games, read comics, all this stuff. And there's probably some truth to that, but these people who, by the way, seem to actually, not that the old guys didn't care about wrestling, but these new guys are basically, but what I'm getting at here is that, they might not be as tough as these good old boys for, drinking and all this stuff. They might, playing video games in the back, computer games, what have you, but they're also the guys who aren't going to be, getting involved in this garbage 20 years later. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be in a wheelchair on painkillers and rehab, all this and that. I mean, that's just a quality.
Yeah, they just get hooked on the spice.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing as being hooked on phonics?
No, not even close.
Okay.
That concludes our new segment. Tune in for the next part, which will be the show reviews.